Hi, guys. How's it going? Yeah. I'm here to talk to you guys about online news and it's kind of like the death of newspapers, but it's another PowerPoint presentation, and PowerPoint presentations are inherently boring, with the slides and the pictures and the graphs and the charts. So it's only 5 minutes, so hopefully it'll be painless. I promise you it'll be painless. Newspapers are unfortunately dying. People aren't buying subscriptions. Does anyone here still have a newspaper subscription? Anyone? These couple of people, exactly, my point exactly. They're dying. The New Orleans Times Picayune newspaper completely folded. The whole entire newspaper went under. They're all digital now. All of those fine, talented people, educated people are gone, out of jobs. Sites like these, newsstands, remember those newsstands? Getting your news on the radio and TV. We still get our news from radio and TV, but just not as much as we used to. We get our news from this. These are the top websites for news. And in the month of September, you got your CNNs, your Huffington Posts, your Yahoo News, not including Facebook and Twitter, where we rely heavily for our news. I do it. I actually studied journalism. That's why this is so near and dear to me. The changing landscape of news and journalism, and who can we trust? Scenes like this has been common, unfortunately. Lots of hardworking people, losing their jobs and just have nowhere to go. They're being replaced by pretty much you. Anyone could be a journalist now. You don't really need to go to school as long as you have like an internet connection and you can post your blog or whatever. and people like anyone, you guys, and all the newspapers and online websites, they're all competing for the same audience now. In the old days, the Tribune or the New York Times or whatever city, their newspapers used to be just local, just competing for the local audience. Now it's the whole world. You can, citizen journalism is what it's called. This is a pretty broad depiction of a citizen journalism. I assume most of them aren't in their mom's basements, but yeah, it's pretty much just anyone with time on their hands, anyone with an internet connection, anything could be news, pretty much anything that's, that gets people talking, on online media, Twitter, Facebook, whatever. The disadvantages of online news is, you want everything quick and fast, and when you do that, facts can get distorted, not enough time for fact checking. Recently, if I can mention this real fast, Jezebel.com, formerly of Gawker, there was a story involving a person who, people were fainting at like a movie screening recently, and one of their writers tried to contact the marketing person for the studio there, and they ended up getting the wrong person. It was some guy on Twitter, and the guy wanted to teach her a lesson and decided to make up a bunch of fake quotes. The one question that writer didn't ask was, "Are you the actual person?" And that's just all the resources that writers have nowadays, and and because everyone's competing for the same audience, you have to come up with those captivating headlines or those sneaky headlines, clickbait. We're familiar with clickbait, BuzzFeed and all the or the websites with their lists and what have you to sort of pull you in. And this isn't news, really? Do you think this is news? Come on, yeah. You would never see that in a newspaper. I mean, Facebook. I rely on Facebook for news. I think we all do. Or most of us. They replaced their news editors with this sort of algorithm thing where, they, based on things that you've clicked on in your likes, it filtered out what kind of news they think you would want, and a bunch of fake stories passed through. And, we rely on, a Facebook or a Twitter and stuff like that nowadays, and to see that happening, that's kind of distressing. So, I mean, this is where we're at now, unfortunately. I mean, the internet, it's the number one source for news. Where do we go from here? I don't know. It's kind of scary. Like, who do we trust? I mean, even like the New York Times website, there have been like a whole lot of like things that need to be corrected and changed and what have you. So, yeah, I wish I could help, but unfortunately, I can't. Thank you.